best Thanksgiving pie. What is it?
Sweet potato pie. Are you kidding me?
That's a good call.
It's a sweet potato pie.
I'm more of an apple pie guy.
Okay, you can't go wrong there. I'll go with pecan pie.
I'm a pecan pie guy. Trust me.
All
All three of them were good choices.
None of us
by
took
the way.
pumpkin though, which should
And
tell you
no
something.
one went like blueberry cobbler or something like that. Don't go there.
How's our financial plan coming?
Super! Chris, any advice?
With Western and Southern, preparing for your financial future can be easier than you think. Favorite receiver?
Huh?
To get started, visit westernsouthern.com.
How about Keith O'Quinn, the special teams coach? I'm going to give a big slice of pie to him. And obviously the people who hired him and the people who continued to keep him employed, because this wasn't just about the Week 12 matchup against the New England Patriots. This special teams unit has been bad all season long. They ranked near the bottom in terms of return yards per return. The punter had a punt blocked in that game. The field goal kicker missed 2 kicks in that game. They now have the most missed field goals, tied for the most of any kicker in the National Football League. But even more importantly, on a real critical play, I just believe coaches are supposed to, in some way, shape, or form, give their teams an advantage, particularly in the 1/3 phase of the game where there appeared to have been a sort of a draw, offensive and defensively, against the Patriots. The special teams unit for the Cowboys could have won this game. It was on a 4th down play. They're lining up to punt. It's like 4th and 13. And Bill Belichick usually throws you a curveball.
Yep.
Lined up all 11 players on the line of scrimmage. And what do the Cowboys do? They panicked. It's like paralysis by analysis. They didn't see anyone back deep to return the punt. And instead of them having what we would normally do is have an emergency alert, quick snap the ball to the punter, he throws it out to the gunner, who also was not covered.
Yeah.
I'm telling you guys, he's going to walk into the end zone for a touchdown, and the Cowboys are going to take the lead. Instead, they get a delay of game penalty. They would get another penalty on the very next snap, and I think it was a net 22 yards gain by the time they changed possessions of the football. That was a critical moment in the game. Not only did they squander opportunity to put points on the board, they set the Patriots up to score on that very next possession.
I mean, you've been, on that side of things. You've been in the locker room, on the practice field. Did everyone practice that play? Because I can see there being a real difference, right? Some coaches believe, hey, we got to be prepared for all situations. And some might be like, well, actually, I'm not going to waste time on something that has a 0.1% chance of happening.
What do you think Bill Belichick does? He knows that the margins are slim, but no, you prepare for everything. In fact, when I went to University of Colorado, our head coach, Bill McCartney, I remember him stepping up to the team. He said, we're going to lead the nation in punt team. And we're looking at him like, are you crazy? But what he understood is that if you have a punt blocked in a game and it's returned for a touchdown, you lose 80% of the time. And so what he was trying to do is help us to understand we were not going to ever lose in that area. We end up having the #1 punt team in consecutive years, maybe 6, 7 years in a row. Every time that I've been on a team, and I played a lot of special teams in the NFL, we always had an alert call. You definitely have that in. The punter is almost like the quarterback. Okay, the up back, he sets the protection. But if they see everyone crowding the line of scrimmage and a gunner alone by himself out there, you're going to quick snap it and throw the ball to him, and you got a quick first down, if not a touchdown.
Well, and if you're the defense on that play, you sort of know which teams are prepared to handle you and which aren't. And New England probably knows that Dallas is one of the teams that's not prepared to handle some sort of situation where it doesn't look right. So even if Dallas were to make a fake, maybe they haven't practiced it and maybe it's an incompletion. But another thing that was interesting was the last time Dallas lost a game at home against Minnesota, Tavon Austin caught a punt with 30, no one within 30 yards of him.
That's
and again,
right.
As a former player,
Yes.
you look at that and say, okay, the coach is not putting us in position to win football games. And so when I look at, okay, who is to blame for this situation? To me, it comes all the way to the top, right? Because Jason Garrett is the one that hires the special teams coach. He's the one that sets the tone for, how much power Kellen Moore has as an offensive coordinator, and he's been, a top 5 guy in terms of our metrics. But when and they're doing great things with respect to Kellen Moore in terms of not running the ball so much on second down, in terms of generating expected points in the pass game. But when it comes to making decisions that can turn a game, that can take a Dak Prescott 450-yard multiple touchdown performance and then turn it into a win, Jason Garrett has failed in those situations. He has only gone for it on 25% of what we would consider, fourth downs when he should go for it. They dropped almost 14 expected points on those plays, and you look at their losses almost all of them are close. Yeah. And so for me, I place a lot of the blame at the hands of the head coach, and it was never more apparent than last week when they had 2 fourth down situations where going for it was absolutely the right play.
Absolutely.
And they were not prepared to set up a good fourth down where the coach felt comfortable in going for it, and B, when that fourth down came up, they were unable to assess the positive expected value of going for it.
The interesting thing about that one, so it was 4th and 7, right? Yeah. And they're down by a touchdown.
Down by 7.
Down by 7, and a field goal, they're still down by a touchdown, right?
Yeah, down by 4.
So
which does you no good, by the way.
Exactly. I mean, the math is not it's not rocket science,
That's
right?
right.
And so when you're a coach, one of the things that really a leader in any place on the planet.
That's right.
Preparation and looking ahead are super important. You know the score on first down of that series. You know where you are on the field. Yeah. You know how good the Patriots are defensively. You have gotten all the way down here.
You know it's bad weather. You know the conditions.
You need a touchdown.
That's right.
So not calling plays on first, second, and third down, knowing that you should be going for it on fourth down, to me was the real failure of that whole coaching kind of set of decisions that
Absolutely.
he made or didn't make.
So what if I told you this? Because just earlier this week, the guy who hires those coaches that we've talked about, we also have to give a slice of pie to the general manager of this team, the owner of the team, who is a denier of data analytics. He's a denier of science. And when I heard those sound bites from Jerry Jones saying that he does not believe in the analytics, I'm thinking, how could you not? Like, how could you not understand that going for a touchdown there is what you have to do? You have to do that. Kicking a field goal did them no good to cut the score by 4 points, hoping that you get the ball back, and then you could score a touchdown on the very next possession when you could score a touchdown right here, right now. Well, there were some big concerns out of that game.
And you already handed out your pie.
I know.
You handed out your pie. I'm the one with a pie left to hand out.
Oh, you're right.
You're giving a slice to Jerry?
You may have chosen a nice pecan pie or a pumpkin pie, maybe an apple pie. My pie is just a lot, the whipped cream pies that they give at the, they just put them right in the face. Yeah. That is the pie that I'm giving, and I'm giving it all to Jerry Jones.
Good point.
And here's the reason why, is he has made decisions at a macro level. We talk about Jason Garrett and the special teams coach making decisions in practice and in the game on certain downs. But his macro decisions are the reason all of those guys are there. Jason Garrett is still there. Dak's rookie year, they had a fantastic offense.
Yeah.
Right? They have had good offenses in the past with Jason Garrett, with Tony Romo, with Des Bryant, all those guys. And they have not been able to get as far as he wants them to get. And his belief that this was going to be the year is comical, given all of the data points that he has. He goes out and he pays all this money to Ezekiel Elliott, which is basically spitting in the face of everything we know mathematically about the value of players. Now, if you make the decision to not pay Ezekiel Elliott, right, and you go out and you invest in other positions, right, you may not have situations where players who are not as good as the ones that you could have had are making these mistakes, maybe even on special teams, right? Maybe in the secondary. Maybe you get more depth at receiver, right, and you're able to attack. Or maybe you get a tight end to make up for the fact that you've got Jason Witten out there at like 80 years old.
Yeah. But that's where I think they could have improved. As much as we all sit here and we love Jason Witten, this is not the Jason Witten of his youth. Yes, he's going to be he's a future Hall of Famer and all those things. But if you look at just the labor of distribution in terms of who are the centerpieces of the offense, the production, particularly in the passing game, it's the wide receivers. They've got to throw the ball down the field and outside the numbers to move the ball down the field. Where when you have bad weather like what they had in New England, week 12, now your offense is going to sputter. And that's why they came out of that game without scoring a touchdown. They were not prepared to run this offense through how most offenses happen when they adjust the passing game. You go through what? The tight ends and the running backs. Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard are definitely capable of matching up and winning against linebackers in the passing game. But we don't see that happening. We see them going to either the wide receivers or two tight ends who right now are marginal at best in terms of their production.
Unless it's a key 4th and 5 against the Vikings, in which case now we'll go to Zeke Elliott on an out route against the best cover linebacker in the NFL.
That's right. You don't do that.
Which is hilarious. But I'm going to now, so all these decisions have led up to this point, right?
Yeah.
If you're Jerry Jones and you have decided to roll with Jason Garrett for this season, throwing him under the bus after a game where you were a 6-point underdog, 6.5-point underdog at the open of the week, after losing that game in a fairly close game, a couple of tripping calls, you are setting yourself up for failure. Just go to Kellen Moore now, right? Just pull the plug now. It makes no sense to set him up in that way and then just have him continue on.
Well, especially after reports came out today that Jones had started to sour on Garrett after they lost in Dak's rookie year to Green Bay in the playoffs. To me, it's one of those where eventually you have to pull the trigger if you're going to, and he's been inconsistent in doing so, right? Like, you pull the trigger on the Amari Cooper trade, which I think ultimately is a pretty good trade for Dallas and also for Oakland.
I was proud of them when they made that.
Yeah, because they understand that's
right.
The wide receiver position is more valuable than people think. But then he pulls the trigger on Zeke before he does on Dak, and he still has yet to on Dak, despite the fact that he's putting up one of the best seasons of any quarterback in the NFL right now. It's very interesting, the decisions he's made. But coming back to that point, though, I mean, we know that there are smart people that work for the Cowboys. It's not the fact that they're not investing in these things. It's just that they don't trust them. And to me, that, whether it's the head coach or whether it's the GM, it's one of those where it's like you're just trying to check a box saying, hey, we're a smart organization, as opposed to really self-examining what they want to do. And we've heard numerous quotes from Garrett saying, this is who we are, this is Dallas Cowboys football, without ever examining whether that's winning football or whether that is ever going to get them over the hump in the NFC East and eventually in the NFC, which they've really never touched, during his tenure.
Yeah, and you look at their record. I mean, they're just one game ahead of the Eagles entering Week 13, and their margin for error is very slim.
They don't have one.
Yeah, the wild card positions are going to be taken because you got Green Bay and the Minnesota Vikings in the north, and then out west you have Seattle and San Francisco, the team that doesn't win the division in either of those specific divisions. The other team is going to be a wild card. Getting back to Jerry, though, when I listen to him, I don't take everything he says literally, because I do believe there's some figurative language being spoken here. I do believe that he believes in the data. I do believe that he is making comments about the coaching staff in a way that most owners don't. I think he really is trying to light a fire under them. He believes that is going to motivate them to do better and get better results for the remainder of the season. Now, whether or not that turns out, we know it's going to require more than just a pep talk or going in front of the media. With that said, how many alpha coaches, because remember, he had one in Bill Parcells, he had one in Jimmy Johnson. We know how that worked out.
Yeah.
How many alpha, true leader of men type coaches could serve under Jerry when he's doing a press conference every week?
Yeah.
He's in front of the microphone every single week, and most coaches say, look, it's going to be one voice in our building. And we know that voice belongs to Jerry Jones.
It's weird because I was going to say something similar, which is I do think he's a really smart guy.
Yes,
he's made it this
he
far.
is, yeah.
And I have a hard time believing that people that have been successful don't believe in math.
Exactly.
Right? Like if you you're like, hey, the new CEO of our investment firm doesn't believe in math. You'd be like, I'm taking all my money and I'm moving on. Like, that's ridiculous. So and he has invested in very smart people, as Eric mentioned.
That's
to work
exactly
with.
right. Yeah.
And to me, that saying, "Oh, I don't believe the numbers" or whatever, that's to me that's just throwing stuff out there,
Exactly.
almost to back the coach up. But then you turn around and you spit hot fire at the coach. And I would say, look, you're the owner of the organization. You can make a point by saying, "Hey, Jason, come to my office," and yelling at him in there. It's almost like a easy way out. I'm going to talk to the reporters. I'm not going to confront you face to face. I have a great amount of respect for Jerry Jones and the organization that he has over there in Dallas. I mean, they are a first-rate organization.
They really are, yeah.
But if you are going to put yourself with expectations of winning the Super Bowl, then people are going to judge you based on that, and every decision you make that gets you further away.
He did say the buck stops with him. So you gave the right guy a slice of pie and something.
The worst
says
pie, too.
Yeah, but right now he's got to accept it, and I think it does stop with him. I think when the season's over, he's going to look at the head coach. I know he's going to look at what's going on with special teams, because I think if this game, and we know it is, it's played in 3 phases: offense, defense, special teams. The offense is the #1 ranked offense in the NFL. They rank 6th in scoring. But special teams, they rank near the bottom of just about every single category.
And their defense
on
has
special
regressed
teams.
significantly since the start of the season last year, where culminated in their game almost 12 months ago against New Orleans on Thursday Night Football. They've been basically an average to below average defense since. I'll tell you this right now, though, the person that gets no slices of this blame pie is Dak Prescott, because he's been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
Well said.
And Ezekiel Elliott, because whatever he does doesn't matter that much, 'cause he's a running back.
He's insignificant. Is that what you're saying? Dak Prescott's playing phenomenally
He's been
well.
fantastic. Has
Yeah.
a top 5 raw PFF grade per snap when clean, under pressure, overall.
Absolutely.
He has been really tremendous. He's taking sacks at such a lower rate, and is throwing the ball downfield with better accuracy.
Yep.
He and Kellen Moore, I do think, are on a good page of
That's
the
right.
right book. It's Jerry Jones, Jason Garrett who need to get on the same.
You want to get rid of me and get back to more great PFF YouTube content? All you have to do is push that button right there and subscribe. Thanks for watching.